on it.
Decorating den, what, yeah.
Brad, if you want, I just was counting again. When Mike Scherer comes, he can be there. If you want to come sit by me, then you'll be within
Wherever you
the,
want me to sit.
you'll be within the,
I like sitting by you, I guess.
Well, you guys can tag team during the.
that makes it easier on the cable
Disturbance.
cast.
And Brad, why don't you take some stuff
Okay.
I
down there
did
so that
tell
you-
two
yeah.
New Horizons band members,
You can sit right here.
they,
Yep.
they were
we
not
only have one
sitting
person.
next to each other.
Oh, unless
on
Edie
Thursdays.
comes.
Oh, who is that? Wasn't Maggie and I?
Coming,
Eric is not.
I think, if we're ready to go, Mike should be joining us, but Jim and Eric have conflicts tonight. So I think I'll talk about.
right there.
Right there. I think Mike.
Mike.
Over here might be.
Over here, there's no screen here.
Can you make walk all the way around?
There you go. Make you walk all the way around. And call to order this meeting of the Waverly Public Library Board. And I will go ahead and, I think we already mentioned, we have Jim and Eric that won't be able to join us today, but wanted to go ahead and introduce ourselves. And as I mentioned to some of you, when you introduce yourself, go ahead and share something that you really appreciate about the library that's connected with our long-range goals of growing young readers, birth to teens, and also stimulating the imagination, sparking curiosity, and growing knowledge. So anything related to programming or activities that we've had going on in the library. I'm Deanna McHugh. I'm the president of the board this year. And I guess I would call out the successful do-it-yourself programming that's appealed to a lot of different age groups. We've had a lot of variety there, and it's been neat to see all the different crafts and activities and topic areas that have been shared in those programs. We'll go ahead and go this way.
I'm Laura Fraking. I am the secretary, and I really appreciate all the different ways that the library is a gathering place. The Dollar a Day Boys is coming up. There have been traveling exhibits, the Frozen Party, just book chats. There's so many ways to just meet new people, and anytime you do that, just, you know, shifts your thinking a little bit. So lots of stimulation. Cool.
And I'm Linda Podasky, and I'm all about the teens right now. We are rearranging furniture in the library when we recarpet, and we have shifted to another area and hope to have a really neat teen gathering place. And Sarah and I were talking today about some ways we might make that look like a teen place to be.
Very good.
I'm the late Mike Scherer. The last one to show up. One of the things I appreciate about the library is, probably that is not a very big deal, but the fact that you can now check out the current issue of a periodical and hang on to it for a couple of weeks. And I kind of hesitate to mention that because anybody in Waverly who didn't know that will probably start taking my magazines now. But that's a rather nice feature, I think.
My name is Brad Bierman. I'm responsible for the maintenance on your library. I guess the thing that impresses me most about the library, as you can tell, we'll be talking about a carpet project here in a little bit, is the use. It just amazes me when I talk with either Sarah or some of the other staff of how many people come in and out of that library every day. That's amazing to me. And you can tell if you go up and look at the carpet that we get a lot of traffic, so.
That's true.
I'm Sarah Meyer Ryerson, the director of the library, and I think one of my favorite programs at the library is the traveling story time. I just really like that idea of taking that library programming out to homes, to home daycare providers, and the time that librarian, that little bit of time that librarian has to interact with kids and let them interact with books and puppets, and I think that's good that we were able to do that.
All right, around the horn.
I'm Diana Blake, and I'm old, but perhaps just a little old-fashioned because I still like all the print resources that the library has, both fiction and nonfiction. There's always something new, and there's staff there to help suggest what might be interesting.
And I'm Elaine Main, and Diana, you are not old. You might feel old at the moment, but you are not, so erase that. But I have to mention two things. One that I don't participate in, but that my husband does, the Mysteries and Munchies that Mary Schmidt does. So going out from that meeting, one of the people that had attended said it's just amazing to see the variety of the type of people that come to that and the strength in the group that comes to that.
You should explain what that is.
It's Sunday, that'd be the second Sunday of the month, an hour discussion of a mystery writer. And Mary Schmidt coordinates this. Everybody reads a book that's written by that person. And then she brings specific treats that relate to that person. So it's really fun. And they look forward, the participants really look forward to that. But I also have to mention the gardens, because I volunteered in the gardens, and it's just fun to be working and see a photographer come in with young kids and have pictures taken over here, and to see other people coming and walking through, and to see teens come and use the picnic table with their computers doing whatever. So, two things.
And I'm Mark Lemius. What I like most about the library is, kind of branching on what Deanna said, is that even though we have print media, we have multiple types of media. My favorite is the DVD collection, and we keep that up to date fairly well. So.
Oh, very good. One last thing I'd mention is I certainly appreciate this board and want to say special thanks to Diana for filling in when I had travel commitments these last couple months and doing a fabulous job, and also for Elaine helping to coordinate getting the materials out this month as well. So thanks for all of your help. And I'd echo, with a day like today, how can you not start thinking about the gardens and appreciating the outdoors? So thanks, everyone. And I think that means we're ready to look at our agenda. Hopefully everybody's got that in front of them. And I'll entertain a motion to adopt our agenda.
So move we adopt the agenda.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
And opposed, same sign. And I think we're off and running. And welcome, Edie, our council representative.
I'm sorry I'm late.
No problem.
Went to the wrong place.
No problem at all. We're just getting going. So I think we're ready to look at minutes from the last meeting. Hopefully everybody's got a copy in front of them.
So I move we approve the minutes, noting that we started at 5:14, that meeting, thanks to Diana.
Early.
I'll second.
All right.
I'm sure the clock was just ready.
Just ready
Click
to
over.
click over. All right, any other comments? Otherwise, I'll entertain the motion to approve the minutes. Oh, we did that already, didn't we? Let me ask for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, now financials. We've got some
All right, I think in your original,
in front of us.
yeah, the new checks were what was in your original packet. So I will note that I think Jane was doing some matching up, and I noticed in gathering things today that our totals at the bottom, the adjusted total and the total of her column there are off by about $40. So I'll track that down. I think she was taking into consideration some things that ran through the city that she may not have recorded yet. So I'll follow up on that. I wanted to go back and mention the Mid-American bill because we talked about it at the last meeting, and Brad and I had also been looking into that. You'll see that the check here for February went out to Mid-American at $1,608. And I traced back, I should first mention that last year, that same month was $1,337. So it's within the ballpark of where we are. Last month, it was $1,123. The prior January had been $1,022. So I think those are very close to what we had been. December was the month where we had a large credit from Mid-American, a credit of almost $900 because they were adjusting for our meter running too fast. But I don't believe these last 2 months show any adjustment at all. I mean, I think it's back where it's supposed to be now. So I just wanted to mention that. I was going to double check on Brad's phone. I think the bill for U.S. Cellular just didn't get in last month. And maybe someone asked about that too, because there are 2 bills for Brad's phone this month.
You don't have 2 phones.
No, it just says one.
I do, but one gets billed to me.
Okay.
You'll also see George Lawson Consulting on our list twice. Those invoices add up to $5,825 together. George was our library consultant, library building consultant who did our space utilization study that ran from December through February. And we'll be talking some more about that study tonight, or referring to the plan.
What do we have with the Community Electric and Elsa Miller Electric? 2 electric?
I can grab the folder. Do you happen to remember, Brad?
Yeah, the community electric, they take, you're thinking it's probably an electrical contractor, but what they do is, we were having some issues with our security backup system, which is a bunch of batteries, and we had a bad board in there, and for some reason, it wiped out the whole program, so they had to come back up once they figured it out and just reprogram it. So that's what that was for. They also know our bill, we probably had some, I can't remember
It
what
was
we had him do.
$132.35.
I can't remember what we had him do at that time.
Not
Would have
really.
been probably, maybe a ballast we had to replace downstairs. I think it was. I think we had a ballast or something that had to be replaced. I know it was, Sarah. Yeah, it was a relay that runs our electric lights, that turns our lights on automatically. There was a relay that was bad, so our lights we had to turn them on manually and shut them off manually. The clock was, and it was just a relay, it wasn't kicking that over, so he had to replace that relay, so that's what that was.
So the Eckers flowers, is that related to the gardens coming up?
No, I think that was related to Christmas, or holiday decorations.
Oh, yes, okay,
Um,
yeah.
Yeah, and the decorating of the holiday tree. We do all the putting away of those things, but Cindy comes and does the decorating very quickly. And this year, we just spruced up our ribbon and things a little bit, so.
Emily and Jillian had some travel expenses. Where'd they go?
Yeah, Jillian's was kind of a catch-up of a number of trips that she had made for the Iowa Library Association because she's serving on the conference planning committee. So there were several trips, well, a couple of trips there to Cedar Rapids for the conference in the fall, and then she had a planning meeting in November that she attended for next year's conference. Emily was the one that drove down to Des Moines to pick up our booths that we got from Des Moines Community College for the teen area. So the booths were $50 plus her mileage, and that's the cost of the booths. So,
Cool.
pretty good deal.
Any other questions about the checks?
The movie licensing for $331?
Yeah.
What's that?
Every year we pay for a license that covers, and I can't even tell you, it covers a large number of movies that we could show in the library and have it be legal.
Okay.
And so the movies that we choose to show have to be on that list that is covered by this license. And so, right now we're starting, well, did they show Frozen at that party? There've been some other children's movies shown and some that Sue uses parts, little pieces of them in story time. But also, we're starting a new series right now of old classics.
I see the 29th of March is Classic Cinema, Singing in the Rain.
Yeah, yeah. And this last month was Casablanca, I think.
I have a question.
Sure.
Just a quick revisiting of Mid-American. I'm curious, how did Mid-American or we determine that the meter was running too fast?
That's a very good question. That wasn't initiated by us, that to my knowledge, that was. that came
Actually, our
from-
accounting department caught it, and then they contacted Mid-America. And it's something that's happened, issues like that have happened, and they're pretty good about watching that. Jack and Karen and them kind of watch that pretty close, and they brought to attention, and they take care of that right away. They call Mid-America, make sure their equipment's running. Mid-America came out and said, yep, we got a bad meter. So, and it took a while for them to catch that, so I think kudos out to Jack and Karen for catching that for us, so.
I guess my curiosity is, what's the flag? Because we're paying too much, or is it going up too fast, or how do we know that it's going
The bill was high, yeah, it was way, because what they do is they'll look at a bill, if it looks bad, or if there's a question mark, they go back a year and they go, geez, you're $800 higher than, okay, it's been a little colder, but hasn't been that much colder, maybe we need to check equipment.
They probably too, because the bills for all of the buildings, the city buildings go through the finance department, they're able to see what changes happen in different buildings over time and kind of have a perspective there.
Okay.
Let's see, on the financials that you just picked up tonight, then there's an expense summary sheet that we can look at. I apologize that the expense line item sheet, the detail one, printed out small. I swear it told me it was going to print out on 2 pages, but it did not. So on the expense summary, you could note that we are 2/3 of the way through the fiscal year. So if you look in the far right-hand column there on the summary, the total that we've spent out of our operating budget is 61.6%. So we're under what would be 66.6% as 2/3 at this point. Then the only other note I was going to make was that $5,825 to pay our library consultant came from the Enrich Iowa funds from the state. So that was our reserve transfer this month from the library's reserve account to pay that bill. Revenues look to be very on track as far as duplicating fines and book charges. We'll be receiving our second of 2 county contract payments next month. And I'll touch on this when we talk about budgets in a few minutes here, but that amount of $59,160, should be a very similar amount to what we receive next year from the county, because our 15-16 budget from the county is flat. And that's the amount that we get out of that county contract for the Waverly Public Library is calculated based on usage and a calculation, so it may not be that exact number, but very close. That's really all I have for financials.
Any other questions on financials?
So on the breakdown, Sarah, are you at all nervous about repair and maintenance, or can?
Are you looking at the line item detail?
Yeah, this,
Let's see.
because it's, 6310.
I'm trying to think, Brad, I don't have my notes in front of me as far as what has come out of repair and maintenance
We
this year.
had a major one we weren't planning on in December. We had a couple different parts that went bad in the boiler at the same time. I made a flying trip to Des Moines to get them, just so we could get heat back in the building, but one of them was a couple $1,000, and then we had to replace a board in the control part that tells it what to do and what not to do, and that was, I think the total bill was like $3,000 some dollars, so I'm not expecting anything.
Do you feel
Yesterday, the air conditioning actually ran, so we know that works, so that was actually running for a little bit.
next year, are we going to have similar?
I don't think so. This is, I've had the same thing happen, the boiler in this building, actually the same thing, and I'm gonna guess right now, but I think that's been like 8 or 9 years ago that I had to do that. So once, it does happen and they go bad, but it's a freak thing, and you're gonna get life out of it. It's not like it's something we gotta worry about, especially that kind of a type of a bill. So, yeah.
With repair is, it's unpredictable.
Yeah.
You don't know when it's,
It is, and that's exactly the issue I deal with, even, all our buildings is, you think, okay, we budget this money, but we had our boiler actually went bad in this building a few years ago, and that was like $10,000. Well, we didn't have it budgeted. I mean, you got to fix it, and we do, and we go to reserves or however we pay for it, but yeah, it really hurts your budget when you go, all of a sudden you have to do something you're not planning on, but.
You know, the age of the equipment, I think that was what I wondered, based on the age of our equipment.
Yep. And we do a lot of preventative things, we do yearly things. We have, we won't do it this year, but next year we'll have the company come back up and actually calibrate our boiler. I'm serving on the energy committee with the city right now, and we're looking at like Mid-America to come in and do some tune-up things. They'll check some things. They'll get in touch with Johnson Controls. Hey, let's go and look at this and just make sure all our equipment's running and running efficiently. So hopefully we can eliminate some of them big charges maybe by some things that we're not doing or we're not aware that we need to be doing. So we're doing things like that as well. So we're heading in a good direction. So we're doing what we think we need to do.
I'm trying to remember the name of that program, and maybe Edie remembers too. It's an energy action committee for the city of Waverly that Brad and I have been attending the meetings for, and citywide they're looking at buildings to look at lighting and water usage and electrical usage. I can't remember, it seems like there's that comes from a state program.
Yeah, it's Franklin Energy is the name of the, but it's through Waverly Economic Development, I believe.
Or
It's-
Iowa
yeah.
Economic Development.
So, but yeah, the nice thing about it is they not only help you look for ways to save money, they also help you look for financing, whether it's grants or whatever. So and we have members of different parts of the community. We have a work person on our committee. We have Kurt Atkins from Light and Power serves on it as well. So we'll be, we want to fund them, and we want to fund them cheaply, so we'll be looking at some projects. Lighting is going to probably be the big one, just because it's, your return's a lot faster, and we know in 2 buildings for sure that we definitely need to start looking at some of them areas, with LEDs coming on, things like that. So, but, yeah, we're just kind of gathering all the information stage. That's kind of where we're at right now. They're putting a lot of things on the computer. Jack, our accounting office, is helping put all the information together, energy use, whether it's gas, water, things like that. So we're just kind of putting all our facts and statistics together now, and we'll be moving forward.
I think ultimately there would maybe be a draft policy written for the city to try and make suggestions for future guidelines for energy usage and things like that. Back to your comment, Elaine, under that repair and maintenance of structure line, 6310, you'll notice that our original budget was $8,000. and that the amended budget, we needed an extra 1,000 to cover that, so there had to be some shifting done from other line items to keep everything at zero, and hopefully that will all work out. We do a couple lines below that in 6350, we still have repair and maintenance of equipment, which that's probably where, just on paper, I shifted that money from. So we still have $3,500 left in that line, and hopefully we won't have anything come up, but
Is the brick cleaning project, is that on this year's budget or next year?
next year's.
Next year's budget.
15, 16.
Yep, after July.
Okay.
Other questions on the financials? If not, I'll look for a motion to approve the financials.
I move we approve the financial for February per standing resolution.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Any other comments, questions? Not. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. Our feature presentation,
Yes.
our exciting discussion about our library carpeting project.
Yes, we've been planning for this for a long time. Our main item of business tonight is to look over the bids that were received for the carpeting and to make a recommendation to the city council for their meeting on Monday night of next week as far as the vendor to approve based on these bids. The reason that we do it this way for this project, because normally the library board makes those final decisions for the library, is that this item was budgeted under the capital improvements fund for the city, rather than in the library's general operating budget. So in talking with the city administration, we felt that this was the best way to do it. So I'll explain just quickly about our process. We wrote together, Brad and I, with some input from the city, put together a request for proposals, so that and we listed there the exact type of carpet that we had planned, because we had looked into this and tried to figure out some of those things early on. We had listed what we wanted and how much of it we needed, and put that out to 4 Waverly businesses, as well as one Waterloo company, who we had begun asking questions from. And so the bids that were received, you'll see on the email, I think that went out to the whole library board before, and I printed you a copy tonight, that there were 3 bids received, and this is for, I want to mention that this is for the removal of the old carpet and disposal, the floor preparation for the new flooring, the carpet itself, and the labor for the install of carpet. There's a separate piece that we'll talk about, which involves the moving of the shelving and the moving of the items on the shelving, that we're talking about proposing to use a different company for that. So these bids came in ranging from $94,600 all the way up to $144,500. That was for that carpeting portion. My recommendation to you tonight would be that we approve the low bid from the Kirk Gross Company in Waterloo at $94,627. And you have a copy in your packet of their bid. And then behind that, you also have a copy of the quote from the Jones Library Sales Company, which is really a one of its kind company in Iowa that's very library specific. Many libraries of all sizes in Iowa have used them, and that would be the other piece. Their quote was for $19,125. That would involve coming in with their mobile trailers and carts and taking all the materials off the library shelves, storing them, and then dismantling the shelving, moving it to its new location according to the new floor plan that we've created with our space utilization study, and then putting the materials back. And they are, my understanding is that they are experts in that sequencing process. They really know libraries. The shelving, moving, and installation is what they do. So then the total project cost would be that $94,627 plus the $19,125, which brings us within $5,000 of our budgeted amount that we have with the city of $120,000. So we come in under by 5,000. Yes.
I have a question on the bid that Kurt Gross, the low bid, gave us. We have this note that they would waive a design fee of $3,500. What's the design fee, and is that reflected in their bid, or would that?
No, that's a very separate thing that we were to pay that ahead of time because we worked with them on choosing carpet and trying to get ideas on what was possible with carpeting and how much we might need, and basically trying to get a ballpark figure for what might this project cost, just for purposes of budgeting. And I think we met with them as long ago as 2 years ago to try to get that process started, just thinking what it would all take. We wanted to pay them for that design fee up front, and that's not the way it ended up happening, but that if you add that design fee even to their bid, it still is the low bid.
Right, yeah.
But that was not something we put in to be bid. So
So
that now ends up being a cost that doesn't have to come out of the project.
So that doesn't impact the 94,000.
No, if you added that to the 94,000, I'll redo my math here.
We use them kind of, might as well say it as a consultant. There was many times they brought plan after plan after plan, and we would tear it down, and they'd go back and redraw it. Like Sarah said, we used, I don't know how many different samples of carpeting, different floor coverings to underneath like the computer desk and all that. So we were meeting with them a lot, and so that's why that was on there.
That's a typical thing with design firms, interior designers. If you purchase and work through them on the project, they don't charge you for their time. That's all part of it. So that's not an unusual thing.
My thought is we would have had that fee or a fee with whoever we worked with on that. And the Cook Gross Company was a company that we bought furniture from in the original library, and they also helped us when we redid our information desk. So that was just a company that we had worked with and began asking questions there. So they kind of helped us figure out what we wanted. And the total there adds up to $98,127. So it's fairly close, but it's still the low bid.
Will any of the designs they put forth be impacted by the space utilization study? So we
So-
have, will any of the designs, the carpet decisions, anything be impacted by the space utilization study? Because we are changing up the libraries.
Yes, and there was a change that had to be made in the carpet, which was basically the areas that we had designated to do some different things with carpeting around windows. They were going to have to be reduced because of the way our shelving and furniture was moved. And so when you reduce quantities like that, it ends up costing more for that little bit of specialized carpet. So we decided that it would be in our best interest financially and otherwise just to take it out, because, so the carpeting in the whole building will be the same, except for that area in the lobby and at the back doors that will be the track-off carpet. But otherwise, it will be the same carpeting throughout, and that will allow us to move things around too in the future without having to worry about any designs that might be in the carpet. But yeah, even those small areas that we had were then covered by a shelving unit, in one place.
Sap moons or whatever.
Yeah. So they don't exist anymore.
Just out of curiosity, did any of the component bids for the various different tile versus plank versus removal, did they vary a lot across the bids?
We looked at that. I don't have that with me tonight, but they seemed pretty in sync with each other, that the bid that was the highest, ranked some of those things. They seemed pretty consistent with the rest of the overall bids.
And on the Jones Library service, again, just a curiosity question, when they move things, are they taking things to their trailers? Are they relocating them, within the library? Is there
We haven't gotten that far yet. I don't know those details. I just know that they have trailers available for storage. And I don't know, in our case, once we're able to have a meeting with whoever the carpet vendor is and Jones Library Sales, I think we can talk about a strategy for what part of the building we'll do first, and maybe, since we will be closed during that time, maybe a relocation could be in another part of the building for a little while. I'm not sure how we'll do that exactly yet. But we are thinking for a timeline.
Sounds as if they're bringing trailers, that they are thinking of storing
If not,
shelving, if nothing else. I mean, we just don't have a place where we can store that, any of it. So that'd be my guess, that they would, you might have a big storage container sitting there for the time it's
and we may be able to use our front meeting rooms as a staging area and carpet those last or something. I don't know what it will end up being. But as far as the timeline goes, we're hoping that the carpet can still arrive by the end of April, and the indication looks like it will be it could be possible that we would receive the carpet by the end of April, and that possibly in those first 2 weeks in May, that would be the install dates. In fact, we wrote that into the request for proposals, that the project needed to be finished and completed by May 20th, because we do have some graduation parties that are scheduled, and that's right on the cusp of the beginning of our summer reading program, and we need to be done before the end of May.
That question, sort of related, the ICN room, has that been taken down, taken out yet, or is that still to be done?
It's in the process of being dismantled right now. The tables have all been unwired, as I understand. I haven't stepped in there yet this week, but yep, Larry is busy on that. He will have that finished by the end of this month. So,
All the ICN equipment downstairs is either taken out or unhooked. I know that they were there, a week ago, I think, with ICN themselves were actually downstairs working.
so maybe disconnected the basement
Disconnected
from the
downstairs in
upstairs.
our ICN, our equipment room in the basement is what I'm
From the
talking
upstairs, okay. Because we still do use the ICN as our internet service provider, and that will not change.
other questions or comments regarding the library carpet project? Like you said, this is something we've talked about for a long time, so it's exciting to see those areas that have really served us well, but are past their life.
Should this be in 2 motions or 1? What would you suggest?
Or the 2 components of the bid?
Yes.
It's a good question. I think we can do it in one, given that the one is the only provider.
Then I move we accept Sarah's recommendation that we accept Kurt Gross's and Jones' bids.
Thank you. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Thanks very much for the thorough review and the nice summary that we had in the staff report. I think we're ready then to have a vote. All those in favor of accepting the 2 bids? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign? All right. And like you said, then, next council meeting will be when?
Yep, the Monday the 16th, this coming Monday, is when that will go before the city council.
Very exciting. Other reports?
The next item I really just put on the agenda as far as an overview of the moving project, because we have had some questions from the public about what is happening, you know. And so I've got a map here that I'm going to attempt to put up where you can see it. You may have to shift your monitor button at the right to B, and I'll just explain. You have to tell me if you see that. Okay. I guess,
I'm sorry. Here, could you slide that down just a little bit, please?
Down,
Good, thank you.
beautiful.
there we go. Now I can kind of see what I'm looking at on the TV. So there are just a few things that I wanted to show, and actually, I don't know how this will be best. Actually, if I turn it this way, oh, that's wrong for you guys, though.
Hand on our head.
Well, no, this is correct directionally. Because this is east, these are the main east entrance doors at the library, and these are the west windows that look out on the garden. So I'll just show you a few of the highlights of what will be different, because we're not moving everything, we're not changing everything about the layout of the interior, but we are changing some things that will be noticeable and we think will be better. And this comes after a couple of meetings with our building consultant where staff gave input about things that work well in the library, ideas of needs that maybe could be met by just rearranging things. And this is what we came up with after about 3 reiterations of the map. So when you come in the library into the front lobby, the area that you step into right inside the wooden doors is going to have a more open feel to it. We've rearranged some shelving to make that more spacious, and I think eventually we'll add a little bit of seating there for kids who are waiting for rides, for folks that, you know, maybe want to look at the new items will still be close to the front. The media, your DVDs, Mark, will still be close to the front, but more where the nonfiction is right now. It gives you a clearer line of sight to the information desk. That is a desk that, since we opened, has for some reason, I think line of sight, been a difficult desk for people to find when they come in. So a lot of times if people have more in-depth questions or need more extensive computer help, we send them to that desk, and now they should be able to see it. Also, it opens up a wider path to the children's area, and the children's desk, service desk, has been moved back a few feet just to make that a more inviting space. And then in the future, I think it would be wonderful to have you know, maybe as a foundation-supported project or other special gift project that we make what some libraries have as a really dramatic entrance to their youth area. I always think of Iowa City because, and it's really a pretty simple thing, but they have a word written on the wall, and then the O is a slide that the kids can step up on and slide into the youth area. So some kind of fun entrance like that, maybe in the future, you know. Some of these things were open doors for us to make plans for something else in the future. But at the very least, you'll be able to see the children's service desk when you come in from the front. The copy machine, which has always been up in this far corner, is now going to be moved closer to a staff desk, to a circulation desk over here, because many times folks just need a little bit of help getting started with the copy machine. And that will make it easier on staff to not be so far away from the desk. And there's many times that we only have one staff person at that desk. The collaboratory, and I'm going to struggle to point right to it here, which has 3 computers in it right now, is going to be reduced down to what we think will be 1 computer that might be used for proctoring exams. Because we do proctor a few exams every week, and we'd like to have that room available as an extra meeting room if we can. The study rooms that we have across over here are highly utilized, and the collaboratory would actually be a little bit bigger than that. So we need that meeting room space. All the computers are being centralized in this organization, all except the few that are still in youth. There are a few that are set up with kid-sized chairs and kid-sized keyboards, and those will stay. But the rest of them, everything from CERC except for that proctoring computer, will come to the center area in front of the information desk. And that's the desk where the staff has the most availability to help with more extended questions and computer help. Often we help people download items to their e-books or to their e-readers. And I think it'll, instead of having computers behind the information desk and in front of the information desk, they will all be in front, and it will just make it much easier for monitoring. We'll probably keep our floater staff member who helps out wherever needed. They'll probably find themselves at the information desk more often, we're thinking. So we do not have budgeted funds to purchase furniture for that, so we will be putting together what we've got for computer desks and see how that works. And in the future, that might be an item that we would, again, come to the Friends group for, come to the foundation for, find a way to fund some computer desks that are uniform through that area. But right now, we can get by. What else? Oh, a very important thing is that in this back corner, and this right here would be the southwest patio of the library, so this is Bremer Avenue running right here. So in this far west, southwest corner here, an area has been opened up that's specifically for the young adults. And that's where the 2 new booths are going that we purchased from Des Moines Area Community College secondhand, which I think will be a great addition. There's some space there. There may be some additions to that area in the future, but it's a bigger space than they've got right now. It's farther removed from the children's area, which every library who puts in a teen space tells us that the young adults do not want to be located near the children's area. So we're trying to move away. And we still have supervision at the information desk, which is not far away. A few things have been rearranged in the youth area. The picture books and the early play, I want to say toys, early interactive toys, have all been moved over to that area closest to the storytime room. And one thing that makes better is that when mom or dad comes with a couple children in tow and one of them has to use the restroom facilities, you've got your family bathroom right close by. And they're right near where they're going to go in for a program. So when the kids come out of their preschool story time, they'll know that mom and dad are going to be right there. They still have windows there, but in front of the big windows now, we'll be moving the tables where kids sit when they come for school class visits. And then there's a small seating area over here that might turn into kind of the middle school hangout area, potentially. But this is kind of elementary age kid area now. Another change that's been made is that the microfilm reels that have been up by the circulation desk are moving back right behind the information desk with the reader. So again, they can get staff help more readily there. Kathy's been doing a great job of helping folks from the circulation desk, but she always gets pulled back when someone new comes up to the desk, and that's just a busy desk. So, and with the local and family history collection moving then closer to the information desk, there are shelving units that are turning back to be uniform with the rest of the shelving, so we will have a complete line of sight from the front desk all the way to the back of the building. All the shelving units will be running the same way now, which over in this corner, the section of the library, they have been turned the other way for some reason. So I think that will be an improvement, just from supervision of the building, helping people. So those are some of the highlights.
Also, some seating by the windows a little bit more.
Yes, behind the information desk. Yeah, so that area that had some computers back there, we'll be moving some study tables, a couple of study tables back there, and then some of the seating that had been in the central location in the library will move there, which I think that's one of the most beautiful spots in the whole building, to sit by those windows. And the windows are not great for the computer screens, so that's another reason to move the computers a little bit more to the interior of the building. And as we mentioned before, the ICN room will now become a much more flexible meeting space. Those tables will be able to be moved around since they're not wired together anymore. Down the road, we might want to consider that lighter version of the tables for that room as well, but again, we can use what we've got for now. It'll be a much more flexible room. And I think that's the highlights.
And remind us, where are the periodicals, same where they were before?
Actually, the periodicals are moving back to where they originally were, close to those west windows. So when you're sitting in the main seating area there, they'll be right nearby.
Okay.
I have had a question from a couple of citizens about whether we're going to be getting rid of any of our furniture, and really we are not. There's one unit of 4 computer desks that will have to go somewhere. It's the old style where we had the large monitors under the glass, and it's actually very difficult to get to the back of the computer from there. That desk will be going. It's kind of looking worn out as well. But as far as the rest of the furniture in the building, we won't be getting rid of any of it. I know people really love our antique chairs and tables, but we're keeping them for now. So,
Covet them.
yeah. I think that's all I've got.
Any other questions or things that others have heard regarding plans for relocating? All right. Then I think we're ready to shift back and move on to other reports and the 2015-16 budget request.
Yep, and I already mentioned the Bremer County budget request, that that budget was approved on the 4th of March, and the Bremer County Library Association contract with the county has remained flat at $181,000. That's for the whole county association. So like I said, we're probably going to see a very similar amount in our budget from the county next year after those formulas are calculated. As far as the city budget, that was approved. I can't remember the meeting date, but the public hearing was held, and the budget was approved for
That must have
15,
been
16.
Yeah, last week,
Might have been.
because I was absent from that one, and I
Okay.
think that was it.
Yep. And there really was no further discussion at that, so that leaves the library at basically the same budget that we had proposed. Again, the capital improvement fund amount for the library next year is held at $12,000, so we'll have to be making some decisions about our brick ceiling will come out of that $12,000, and then there's a number of things that we'll have to be discussing for the remainder of those funds. Otherwise, the overall budget then for the library for 15-16, including the transfers from the library reserve account and state money, is $861,266. So that has been finalized and is probably in the process of being recorded with the state or whatever they do at this point.
Very good.
I do not have a summer reading program flyer for you yet because our cablecast meeting is a month earlier than it usually is. We're not quite ready to publish those things, but I know that both Sue Van Hamert and Emily McClyman, children's and teen librarian, have been planning for the summer and have entertainers lined up. Their program is getting all detailed, and that will be sent out to students before they leave school so that they can sign up before school is out. Just a note about the Library Foundation Annual Meeting. The date for that has been set for Tuesday, March 31st at noon. And that went out to all the members, but I just wanted to highlight that. That will be at the library in the conference room. Another note related to the foundation is that the special projects are due, special project requests, which are reviewed quarterly, are due on the 15th of March. So that's coming right up. I think that would fall on this weekend then. So anyone who has an idea for a project that would benefit the library can go online, actually, if you flip back to A and look at the new website that the city has, and we're very pleased overall with how things look on the library site and how much we're able to control on our own. We've got Jillian especially, but a couple other staff members as well have been editing, and I think it's going really well so far. But under the Support Us tab, you can see the Library Foundation, and then if you scroll down, there is a link. Oh, then you have to go back to that left column, and you can either look at the Board of Directors list or the Special Projects information. And there you see a list of things that have been funded in the past. And there's also a link to the form that anyone can fill out, anyone from the community, any board member, any staff member, student, anyone who has a library project can fill that out and submit it to me, and that will be examined by our Special Projects Committee.
Yeah, I would definitely encourage folks to come out here and submit your ideas for how we can make the library even better.
And I wish I could put this, it's just not possible for me tonight to show this to the public, the new website, but I would encourage you to explore it. It's still waverlya.com, www.waverlya.com, and you can find the library through that means. You can also look at all the other city departments and information. On the library's page, if you go under Resources tab and the online resources, you'll see that some new online resources have been added. And over at the left, we've got a link to all of our downloadables. And we've added a new, this One-Click Digital is a new resource that it's actually a collection that we own. We've got it in the CD book version as well. And then with that, we will get the digital version. And that's going to be a growing collection for us. So that's in addition to Neighbors, where you can download free ebooks. You can also do that through One-Click Digital. Gale Virtual Reference Library is one that I've actually convinced my daughter to use and tell all of her friends about at school, just as an example of how students could use that, or anyone, actually. It's all nonfiction reference type books, and she was looking for information on a career, studying a certain career as a possibility, and there were detailed books about that particular career that she could take 3 pages out of and read about. So that could be useful in a lot of ways, and there are thousands of books on that resource. So very good for students
Yeah,
and other
tremendous resources.
curious adults. So I think that's all I have.
And the more I look, the more impressed with how much easier it is to navigate.
I think it is too. I'm very happy with the new site. And if in any of these resources, anyone runs into a problem with needing a login, all you have to do is come into the library and, or call, and we could explain how to use your library card number as your login. That's the number for most of these online resources.
Just a point of clarification, the annual meeting for the foundation, is that a closed meeting or is that an open meeting?
I would say we've always treated those as open meetings. We post them as open meetings. Yeah.
It's not a really big room, but
It's not a big room, but yeah, anyone who would want to attend, I think, would be welcome.
Any other reports or comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move we adjourn.
I second.
All those in favor say aye. Anybody opposed? I think we are adjourned, almost exactly.